What were the highlights this year? What were the hardest parts of the year for you? What did you learn about yourself over the last 12 months? What are you going to stop doing in the coming year? What are you going to start doing in the coming year? What are you going to continue doing in the coming year? What can you do today to take the first step in that set of directions? So question number 4, what are you going to stop doing in the next year? Now, when I ask myself this question, what am I going to stop doing? Oh my God, it's a hard one. I want to stop allowing myself to stay in projects or situations where I feel that friction or frustration. And I just want to get laser focused on weeding out process things that aren't working or dynamics with people that aren't working, and just stop tolerating anything less than just peace and ease. And that brings me to question number 5. What are you going to start doing? So this is something new. What are you going to start doing? Well, I'm almost embarrassed to tell you last year's answers. Top of the list, people. You ready? I'm going to strength train 3 days a week. That didn't happen. And here's the thing about it. I didn't do it. I don't need to trash myself about it. How amazing is it if you could bring compassion to the things that didn't happen and instead lean in with curiosity? Because if I say, well, why didn't that happen, Mel? I'll tell you why. It actually happened if I was in Boston for a week taping the podcast, because I was in a very steady routine. And it would happen if I happened to be in Vermont for a stretch. It didn't happen when things got crazy. And that tells me more data, which is my life doesn't work when I shop when I'm hungry. My life doesn't work when I say yes to too many things. My life doesn't work, and the things that I need don't fall in place if I get too ambitious around what I think I can get done. That it's in slowing down and getting into more of a rhythm that I actually feel better. And that's personal for me, which means I got to bring that to my goals. And do you want to know what's fascinating? If I hadn't done this audit, my plan for next year would be more. I got to do more. I got to take on more. I got to do this. I got to do that. I got to do the other thing. My audit is telling me, actually, Mel, no, you got to do less. You got to focus on the things that actually matter. You got to get rid of a lot of stuff that's not working. And then you got to just really lean into those things and be a real, just maniacal, unwavering bitch, if you know what I mean, about anything else that comes up. And particularly with myself, because I'm the one that shops when I'm hungry. And so this is a really important insight for me, and it might be for you too, that maybe you say yes to too much, which means you're saying no to the things that matter. And you're chasing the next thing instead of truly leaning into the real thing. And I'm 1,000% guilty of that. And another thing that I wrote last year is that I want to be aggressive about saving money. And I did that. And it was on my list. And it was a reminder. And it's only when it's in front of my face that I remember to do it. And I think you're going to find the same thing. And so it's very clear to me what I need to start doing. And that is being more disciplined about just focusing on the core things that matter to me. Instead of expand. You can get so romanced by doing more, especially this time of year. Do you know how radical and defiant it is to say, nope, my goals for the next year, I'm actually going to do less, and I'm going to focus on the things that actually matter. And I'm going to be super disciplined about it, about the 3 or 4 things that make me really happy, about the 3 or 4 things at work or in my career or my business that really make it excel. And I'm going to be really just strict about not getting sucked up in all the other stuff, because it's so easy for that to happen. All right, and that brings me to number 6. What are you going to continue doing in the next year? Limit what I'm focused on. because it's when I shop when I'm hungry and I say yes to too many things and I let everybody else hijack my time and I make things bigger, bigger, bigger that I get stressed. When I'm out with my flowers and spending time with Chris and hanging with some friends and prioritizing my parents, and I'm really focused on 3 things at work that truly drive the needle, I'm not stressed. And so all of this is connected. The other thing I'm going to continue doing is using the let them theory. That was one thing I said last year because I had just discovered it and we had just started writing the book, that I'm going to let other people live their lives because my life gets better. And I'm going to let other people be who they are because then my relationships get better. And when I use the let them theory, and I keep saying let them, and I let people be themselves, and I let people learn from life, and I let people know that I'm here to support them, but that I'm not going to save them. When I let people have their opinions, when I let them deal with their own emotions, my life gets better. And the final thing, question number 7. What can you do today to take that first step now that you have a set of directions? Is there one thing on that list that you can do today? Could you find a date in the calendar and reach out and plan it? Because now that you have the turn-by-turn set of directions of what you're going to start doing, what you're going to stop doing, what you're going to continue doing, now that you can see what brought you joy and what taught you the greatest lessons, now that you have greater self-awareness, you have a deeply personal, extremely wise, and deadly accurate set of directions that lead you to the simple things that you can do more of, the things you need to do less of, that will help you create the best year of your life. And I think that's the most magical thing of all, that the answers are not out there. They're actually in you. That it's not the big things when you sit there and you're like, I'm going to make $1 million. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. No, it's the little things that create the best year of your life. It's the things you stop doing. It's the things you continue doing that bring you joy, but you don't quite think about every day because they're little, but you need to continue to do them. And it's the things that you need to start doing because of all the lessons that you've learned, or the ways that things didn't work out this year because you didn't take the time to set yourself up for success. Like maybe all you need to do is to start thinking, okay, I got these directions. How do I make this easier for myself? How do I set myself up to win? How do I not make this so hard? What if this wisdom and these directions that are right in front of my face actually make my life easier and more fun? What if you leaned into that? You already know what's going to create the best year of your life. And through this simple exercise, you now have a roadmap to take yourself there. And one other thing that you can do that will really accelerate it is share this episode with everybody that you love. You know, one of my favorite things about doing this exercise is I not only do it with Chris, but over the years, as our kids have gotten older, we do it as a family. And so I've now just done it with you, which means I'm going to have a head start when I sit down with my family in a couple days, because I'm going to have all this stuff written down and I'm going to have glanced through all of my camera roll. But the cool thing is, when you do it as a group, with your family, with your kids, or with your parents, or with your roommates, you remind each other of the good things. You remind each other of the stuff that you learn. And it's a really amazing exercise that you can do together, that brings you together, and that also helps you understand what matters to each and every one of you at a completely different level, which what? Helps you show up and support one another in having the best year of your life. And that's what I want for you. And so thank you for spending this time with me. Thank you for listening to this. Thank you for sharing it with your friends and family. Thank you for taking the time to come back to it and to truly dig in with your own calendar and your own photos, because there is no doubt in my mind, you're going to be surprised by what you find. So let me just recap so you got those questions front and center, okay? Number 1, what were the highlights this year? Number 2, what were the hardest parts of the year for you? 3, what did you learn about yourself over the last 12 months? 4, what are you going to stop doing in the coming year? 5, what are you going to start doing in the coming year? 6, what are you going to continue doing in the coming year? And finally, question number 7, what can you do today to take the first step in that set of directions? That's it.